Hey Taylor, what is today? Wednesday? Yeah, it's about 3 o'clock. I'm just going to kind of run through, get you oriented on getting started with entering data here. I'm calling it coding pictures, but basically we're going to turn those pictures into data that we can use to answer our question. And our question is, are vertebrates more active near rock piles than away from rock piles? Okay, so just to kind of refresher on this project. It's been a while since you helped me to put these traps in, but here's one of the given traps. It's going to be 4 traps total. 4 traps total in this part of the research. So we put down that black plastic fence. The animal is moving along the ground, hits the fence. Can go this way or go that way, either way. Comes down, gets to the end, and then here's this bucket. Here's along the fence looking into the bucket. And a little hole in the bottom. They go through the bucket. There's a hole on the other side to come out. And along the way, there is a camera hanging, taking their picture. So we have 4 traps. This is one trap. Each trap has 2 buckets. 1 bucket, 2 bucket. Those are, as you'll see, those are labeled uphill bucket, downhill bucket. This is, I think this is trap 4, and this is at 4 at pile 4. Okay, so right near trap 4 pile, we have trap 4 no pile. So same exact configuration. We have 2 buckets, 2 cameras, same length of fence, really similar habitat. All right, so we see it's on the edge of a field and the edge of the forest, edge of the field, edge of the forest. The only difference here between the two is that there is no pile at this site. Okay, and then we have same thing at another pile. There's paired traps, each one with 2 buckets. So we have a total of 8 buckets, 4 traps, 2 piles. Okay, the 2 piles, at each pile there's a paired design where we have close by another trap without the pile. Okay, so this is basically what we have. And this slide is mostly about the lingo and the naming here. So here's the 2 piles, 1 pile, 2 piles. Here are the 4 traps. 1, 2, 3, 4. Each one has 2 buckets. So there's 2, 4, 6, 8 buckets. The buckets are labeled downhill, uphill. The traps are labeled based on which pile it is and whether it's away from the pile. So NP, no pile, P, at the pile. So if we see a difference between these two, it should be a difference in the number of animals photographed, i.e. the number of active animals that move through the buckets, then we should be able to relate that difference to the presence of the pile or no pile. Okay, so that's kind of what the setup looks like. Now let me show you what the pictures look like and what the database looks like. Okay, so first I'll show the pictures, and this is the way they'll be in the jump drive that I gave to you. It's a little bit different, but let's see, pile trapping, 2020 copy. Okay, so here are the 2 traps, trap 4, trap 6. Within 4, here's the no pile trap, here's the pile trap. Okay, within the no pile trap there should be 2 buckets. And indeed we go in here, here's the downhill bucket, there's the uphill bucket. Okay, zoom out. Here's trap 6. So trap 6, pile, uphill. Trap 6, pile, uphill. That folder there's going to be 8 folders because each folder represents one camera and all the pictures that it took. One bucket at the end of one fence and all the animals that were photographed there. Okay, so here's a given. We've got 1, 2, regardless, I think you'll understand. I think you do understand. So when we get in here, there's a bunch of pictures, thousands of pictures. Okay, 256 in there. And what this is a sort of bird's eye view of that bucket and what came into the bucket and triggered the camera. Come on, computer. There we go. Getting there. Okay, so here's the entry hole. There's the exit hole. There's a gray squirrel came in and had its picture taken. Okay, so now what we need to do is turn this into really basically like zeros and ones. We need to turn it into numbers in a database such that we can use it to generate some statistics later. And this is the database. It's called Biotics. It has a whole bunch of stuff. You'll see there are hundreds and hundreds of records in here from all of my work at the Flint farm. Okay. But what you're gonna be working on. Let's see here. Oh Lord, computer. What the hell? Trying to get to the bottom here. To the bottom of this. 700. Okay. We're getting close. Oh. This is online. That's part of the issue. I'm going to give it to you in a static form, just in an Excel spreadsheet. So let's just, we'll go ahead and, in fact, let's just go ahead and save it, download a copy, and I'll open that up. This is what yours is going to look like. Okay. So I just really need to get you acquainted with the columns in this database, the structure of the database, so that you can see where to add stuff. Let's get rid of the internet crap here. I would probably get this opened up in one spot and then get your folder with your pictures open in a different spot. Okay, so here we go. We've got our pictures and we have our, yeah, there we go. Here's our pictures. And here is, what's this? Oh, it's not that one. Don't save. I guess I had already had that one open. Okay, we want to enable editing. We are going to get this kind of open up where we can see it. And here is what we are going to do. I'll clean this up so it won't have all this other stuff in here, but say this is the end. Insert. Insert. Okay, so columns, date, time. Okay, this one we don't really need to worry about. Method, everything you're going to do is bucket, because I have, you know, plant surveys, weighting, seining. I have my funnel traps. I have game cameras. I have opportunistic turtle hoop trapping. The method that we're talking about here is bucket traps. So these are those the traps we've been looking at. 8P, right? Again, this goes back to which pile and which trap. So this is going to be 4NP. Everything in this folder would be bucket. It's going to be 4NP. So that tells us it is the pair. It's in a pair at trap 4, and it's the one that's away from the pile. Okay, and then that again, that 4NP will have 2 different cameras, and this is the downhill camera. So actually I put DH, but you can just put DW. Okay. Don't worry about latitude, longitude. I have those, and I can fill them in later. And in fact, if you want to just skip to the genus species, okay, and I will give you the list of groups that I want, because some of these things I'm not going to have you get down. We just simply can't identify down to the species level. Let's see, how do I move this stupid thing? Okay. Okay, here we go. So this is the first picture in that folder. Again, the folder being downhill at 4P. And so basically what you're going to do is get yourself set up to flash through these pictures. Okay. Now, what's going on here, because I want to be able to go to the next picture in the folder. Why is this giving me such a hard time here? Okay, I don't know what was going on there, but regardless, I just opened a new folder, but it doesn't really matter. They're all the same. All these folders are the same. So say this is that same folder. Right, you're going to pull the date off of the picture. You're going to enter the date in here, 6/09/20. Okay, you're going to put the time in there. Now, please do military time. So this wouldn't be 3:15, because 3:15 would be 3 o'clock in the morning. This would be 12 plus 3:15. This would be 15:15. Okay, so that way we don't have to have an AM PM column. When I see 22:06, I know that's 10 o'clock at night. Okay, and now that really what that does, it gives us a variable that we can use later in our analysis if we wanted to, because we could say everything before noon is 0 to 12. Okay, try it again here. So time in 24-hour format, that's the that is military time. Always bucket. So in fact, you know, as for like filling out bucket, I wouldn't do it each time. It's a waste of your energy. So at the end, you can just copy this and run it all the way down to all the ones you entered. You can put, what I would probably do is just put the trap once, put the bucket once, and then enter all of those pictures in. And then again, just copy that down to the bottom. Okay. And then don't worry about the Animalia. It's always, again, this one's always going to be Animalia. I can later go in really quickly and put in, I can sort these and put in whether they're mammals or reptiles or birds. So don't worry too much about that and which order they're in. And then, but I will have you do this genus species. I'm going to put together a different PowerPoint that has the basically pictures of each of these things. That's really there's only a few groups that you're going to be seeing in this pictures, and I will outline that for you. And you can see here kind of briefly lots of Neotoma as wood rats, Pleistodon or skinks, Blarina. Some of these things I don't know how to identify yet, so there will be some of that where you may just have to put some marker in there and just say question mark, or you could put in the picture number. So say you come to something and you don't know what it is, like this. Okay. Say then if you don't know what it is, you can put for column M for this folder, you can trace it back to the folder again because it's going to be trap 8 pile trap in the downhill camera, and then all you have to do is put this, you could put this number 0004 because every picture is going to have a unique number. Okay, so as I mentioned, I'm going to give you kind of the rundown of the main groups. So this is a good example of one here. Is this and this. I'm just going to delete all this stuff here. Sorry, I'm all over the place here, but this is the end of the day here. I'm trying to get this shit done. Okay, I'm just going to delete that. Let's just make this like we're actually putting in some data. Okay. So I would just, put in bucket, put the name of the trap, put the, whether it's uphill or downhill, go to this column here, and as I explained to you, this one's going to be small rodent. There's a whole bunch of species of small rodents. There's deer mice, there's golden mice, white-footed mice. We are not going to be able to get down to the species level with these groups. So I'm just going to have you put small rodent. Okay, how many? There's one. Okay, if you see this rodent doing something specific, like if it's dragging plant material, if it is grooming, if it is with another mouse, then you could put 2 individuals here. Mostly it's going to be one animal. So you'll put whatever type of animal it is, small rodent, or species if you know, and then the number 1. Okay. Then you go to the next one. Now, the way that the camera is set up here, we're going to see basically, always takes pictures in 3s. Every time the camera is triggered, it takes 3 pictures. 1 picture, so this was on June 9th at 22:59. This was at 15:15. Okay, so this, something triggered it, it took 3 pictures, and then nothing triggered it again until 10 o'clock at night. And we see obviously this is this little rodent that triggered the camera to take a picture. It took a picture at 10:59, took another picture at 10:59, took a third picture at 10:59. This is that burst of 3 photos. We don't put an entry for all 3. We put an entry for 1 because it's the same animal being pictured 3 times. So you can kind of see it. Here's the animal. It's standing like this. It then moves like that. And then by the time the camera takes in the 3rd picture, it's moved to the other side of the bucket. So what I would do there is small rodent. That would be 22:59, June 9th, 2020. You can open this up so it's a little easier to see. It's small rodent 1. Alright. Okay, that's it. And we're going to go to the next set of pictures. Okay, so now nothing triggered this again until the next day. So this is now June 11th, 2020, and it is at 16:41. Bucket, same folder, so we don't need to fill this in each time. Of course, it's an animal. This is, we're going to call this Plesiodon spa. In other words, again, there's some ambiguity. This could be a female broad-headed skink, Plesiodon laticeps. This could be a female five-line skink, Plesiodon fasciatus, or it could be a female Plesiodon inexpectatus. We don't know, but we know it's a Plesiodon, so we'll put Plesiodon spa. Okay, and 1. And now, 1 picture, 2 pictures, 3 pictures, all of the same skink, so it only gets 1 entry. Go to the next one. Okay, 2 days later, June 13th, 2020, we're at 11:05 a.m. and this is a Carolina wren. Shit, what was that? Again, don't worry about not knowing this right now, because I'm gonna give you that information. Very common bird. The only bird I ever get pictures of, and you get a lot of pictures of this one bird. It's wren. They live on the ground, and they appear to like these buckets. Right? I can't remember exactly what the genus is. It's Thriothoris. That's what it is. So I'll make you a nice little and one individual. Okay, there's picture 1, picture 2, picture 3. See that beautiful eye bar, light eye bar above their eye. So you've probably seen these. You guys have horses and must have a barn. This is the bird that nests inside of buckets. They nest inside of a mailbox, underneath the cap of a propane tank. They build this kind of sticky, feathery, leafy nest. Very common animal. So that's the wren. Okay, next, on to our next animal. Now, okay, so this is what's going on here. We have, oh wait, that is the 3rd picture. Okay, 1 picture, 2 pictures, 3 pictures. Okay, then it's on to another animal. Okay, this is at 6:14, 20, 5:02, 5:02. What is the deal? 2:20, 5:02. This is Blorina. Blorina spa, one individual. Okay, picture 1. What is whack? Keep clicking on stuff. Okay, there's the wren. There's shrew. Picture 1. Picture. Oh wait. Okay, so it looks like it's different. It looks like it's the same picture, and my clicking is not working. But if we look up here, this is picture 13. Here's picture 14. And there's picture 15. So this shrew came into the bucket, it's getting its picture taken, and is literally not moving at all. Okay, so that would be at 5:02. Same picture. Now we see that actually the time changes, and we were on to picture number 16. So there's the burst of 3. 1, 2, 3. So this thing is very lethargic. Now, we're going to enter it in again at 6:14, 20, at 5:03. Okay, and then you can just do here and just go copy paste if you want to. And again, we're at one individual. Okay. I'm not sure how I'm going to deal with these because to me it's obvious this is the same exact individual, right? So we're double counting this animal. However, it just depends on what our question is. Maybe we're interested in how long an animal stays in the bucket. And so that is interesting that we got the picture. Let's see what happens to this animal. We're now 20 minutes later with nothing in there. Okay. So the shoe came in, stayed in the bucket for a couple minutes. At least 2. And so we can get that information. We can enter into the database now, and if we want to later avoid double counts, then maybe we can make a rule to say, if the animal is pictured for consecutive minutes, like at 5:02, 5:03, 5:04, then we delete everything after 5:02. But if we don't have the data in there, then we can't use it. So we're just going to go ahead and enter everything. Okay, so 5:03, right? And then this, again, this happens a lot too. The camera is it was triggered by something, but I don't see something in this picture here. But you really have to look carefully. Okay, what I think is interesting is if you flash through the pictures and look for anything moving, changing. Right? I don't see anything in that. So I'm just going to say nothing. You don't need to enter anything for that. Now we get to Tamias striatus at 8 o'clock on the 14th. So same day, 3 hours later, 8:12, sorry, we have our Tamias striatus. It's a chipmunk. We've got one individual. Okay, I'm not seeing anything extraordinary in terms of their behavior, so I'm just going to say that was a chipmunk. Picture 2, picture 3. Okay, let's see what happens next. Okay, now nothing went through the bucket until 11 o'clock that night. And we're back to a same date. So what you could do is enter all of the pictures from, right, the 14th was a pretty busy day. We're up to 1, 2, 3 animals. So if you want to, just come over here, enter in everything, and then copy the 14th over and over, you can do that. I kind of like to enter the date on each of them. So here's picture 1, picture 2, picture 3. Okay, and this again, we can't get any more specific than small rodent. That would be a small rodent. Okay, now 16, 1, 2, 3. Again, same situation. This is very likely the same mouse, still in the bucket. Gets his picture taken. This is number 2 in round 3. There it is again. Okay, and then now the same mouse has been in there for at least 2 minutes here. This is its 7th picture. And see what this animal's doing here? This is pretty cool. It's got his head down, and it's preening. It's pulling its ears down, and it's cleaning itself. Okay, and then same mouse, same mouse. Okay. So what I would do for this one is, again, these multiples of 3s. I would enter this mouse, small rodent, on June 14th at 11:16 p.m. So 23:16. 3. I would, to be consistent, we're going to have to enter it again at 11:16. 3. enter again at 11:17. And what I would do for this one is I would put over in the comment section, I'll put something like mouse grooming itself. Right. I don't know that I'm ever going to use that data, but I could, right? If it's not there, I can't use it. If it is there and I don't use it, I'll just delete it. It's no problem, or ignore it. Okay, and then 11:17. So that mouse would get 3 entries, even though it's the same mouse. Okay, and again, we can go back and delete those later. That's no problem. Okay, June 15th, 10:23. We've got a burst of 3 pictures of another chipmunk, and then later on the 15th, I don't see anything here, and then so on and so forth. So you're just going to keep going through. Oh, look at that. There's a little tail sticking in there. What is that? Probably a chipmunk tail. Look at the width of that tail. And then look at this chipmunk. Probably a chipmunk tail, but I don't know what you do there. Maybe just put an entry and put on there mammal, certainly. And then here just put unidentified, and then in the comments just put tail sticking in the bucket. Okay. So we're just going to go through. We're going to enter all this in. And then later on, we can crunch these numbers and determine how much activity there is at a given bucket. Here's a chipmunk that's up in the bucket. That will just get entered like usual. Sometimes what you're going to see is a little lizard up in the crack between these buckets. That will get entered also. So just keep an eye out, a sharp eye out. Usually it's pretty obvious, right? Here's more chipmunks, lots of chipmunks. I love this bucket here. And again, we don't really know. What we don't know is this the same chipmunk pictured 100 times, or is this 100 different chipmunks pictured once? We'll never be able to answer that question. Oh, there's another wren, chipmunk, pleistodon, skink. Looks like maybe even the same individual. All right. So there's going to be this lots of pictures. A lot of this gets no entry. Okay, and then this is when I'm checking it. So that's pretty much the skinny on entering the data. Some issues I see coming up for you is identifying those different species. I will again put together a PowerPoint. So what I'm going to give you is folders with all the pictures in them. I'm going to give you a file, the biotic survey table that you enter the data into, and I'm going to give you a PowerPoint that shows you pictures of the different groups that you'll be entering. Because I've looked at all these pictures at least once, so I can tell you pretty much which groups there are in there. And if you get to one that you don't know, just enter into the genus species column. Right, do everything else, put the date, the time, put which trap it's at, the number, and whether it's pile or no pile, which bucket, whether it's uphill or downhill, and then in here, in the genus species, just put the number of the picture. Right, so this would be picture 006, and that will allow me to go back to that specific picture and try to get an identity, and then fill that in later. That's easy to do. Okay, so that's the scoop. All right, I'm going to sign off here.